Dear Manfred Weber, dear Siegfried Muresan, dear Norbert Linz and Herbert Dorfmann, ministers, representatives of farmers' associations, honorable members. Last year, I received a letter from a 14-year-old boy, Lorenz Hafermann, from my home region, Lower Saxony. He wrote me about his family farm and his hope that one day he will carry on the farm business and way of life. His story is the story of many farming families across Europe. And today I want to pay tribute to our farmers and thank them for providing us with healthy food every single day. Something that I think we tend to take for granted. You face huge challenges, from volatility in commodity prices, rising input costs, and climate change. It is therefore not surprising that the number of young people who choose a career in farming is getting smaller and smaller. And this is one of the many challenges you face today. But there is nothing inevitable about this. I want young people from rural areas like Lorenz Hafermann to be able to follow their dreams by walking in their parents' footsteps. But to achieve this, we need to address some of the uncertainties faced by farmers today. So I would like to speak about how the European Union can contribute to building the future of European farming. European farmers are the custodians of the countryside, protectors of ancient customs and traditions. Yet many are also pioneers of a new kind of agriculture. You're adopting new technologies, from satellites to drones, to increase yields and bring down costs. You're managing your land to the benefit of nature. And you are embracing innovation. This is the future of agriculture. Yet the pace of innovation is still too slow. Farmers need adequate support and predictability to speed up this transformation. And let me just focus on 3 solutions that we are deploying together with you. The first is on data, the second on digital infrastructure, and the third on new genomic techniques. Let's look at the first one. Here in Europe, we have a wealth of data regarding the state of our land, especially thanks to our world-class satellite systems. The quality of our soil is visible even from space. We can measure its health, its moisture, and its capacity to absorb water. But this information is largely unused. So we have just decided to make this vast amount of knowledge available to European farmers. It's a powerful incentive to adopt high-tech solutions that will save money and inputs, especially water. My second point: how can you use data and AI if you do not have a high-speed internet connection? The digital transition requires infrastructure, such as data cables and 5G. And this is not always available outside big cities. You know the topic. But Europe is acting on this. 4 years ago, only 15% of our rural areas had access to high-speed internet. Now, thanks to massive investment supported by the European Union in these years, access is now up to 40%. And this is essential for young innovators who are keen to bring new digital solutions into the farming sectors. We need to reach 100%. So we will need young people with digital skills to see farming as a viable option for them. My third point is about scientists that are developing new crops that are more resistant to the disease or climate change. And this is really important for farmers. You can get a better harvest with less water and less pesticides. And this is why we have put forward a proposal on new genomic techniques to give more clarity to researchers and more options to farmers. Europe is a global innovation leader, and we will put our technological progress at the service of our agriculture. Dear friends, let me go back to the letter I received last year. Lorenz reflected what I have heard from many of you. That too often farmers are blamed for climate change and biodiversity loss, when instead you are the guardians and custodians of nature. And on top of this, farmers are among the main victims of climate change. You are hit by the impact more than anyone else in Europe. Yields are decreasing, livestock suffers where there are droughts and floods. In the region of Andalusia, climate-related drought is taking on dramatic dimensions. Farmers are expecting harvest declines of around 30%. And the toll of extreme weather is rising every year across Europe. Wildfires in Greece and Spain have burned ancient olive trees and killed hundreds of animals. I witnessed with my own eyes the devastating floods in the plains of Italy and the valleys of Slovenia. I saw the land underwater, the crops lost to mud, the farmers' distress. And I want you to know that Europe is at your side. This year alone, we have put forward almost 500 million euros for farmers in need. And we have set aside 1/3 of our common agricultural policy to help farmers adopt natural solutions against the impacts of climate change. This is almost 100 billion euros in investment by 2027. Europe is your best ally as you protect crops and animals from floods or fire. And there is another issue that we care deeply about. One where dialogue or your input is essential to address the risks. I'm talking about large predators and the threat they pose to our animals. Farmers have been saying for years that the growing number of wolves in some areas is a danger for livestock and humans. But to identify those areas where wolves pose a greater risk to local communities, we need to hear from you, local associations and authorities. You will now have a chance to share your data, your specific situation and concern. And this will then guide further our action for wolf management. Our overall goal to protect nature and biodiversity remains the same, but we can and we will find targeted solutions to protect your livelihoods. Dear friends, I am deeply convinced that agriculture and nature can go hand in hand. But we must look into the challenges that farmers face so that you can continue to guarantee Europe's food security also in the future. And for this, we need an ever closer cooperation with the farming sector. This will be central to the next phase of the European Green Deal. Our legislative framework has now essentially been set. Our core focus today must be to support every economic sector throughout the transition with tailor-made approaches, including, of course, the farming sector. We need more dialogue and less polarization. And for this reason, we would like to start a strategic dialogue with you on the future of agriculture in the European Union. We know that many policy areas, not just the common agricultural policy, impact our farmers. We can better coordinate those policies. Europe needs to secure what we have today, great choice of food across our many regions. We need to work with nature. We need to work with science. Europe needs your voice so that we can shape this new phase together and secure the future of European farming. Thank you very much, and let me wish you a very good conference.